This is Carnival Visionaries. It's Room, and I am here with Humzee, the famous Humzee, the one who a lot of ladies run down to be in this man's section. I'm telling you, I kid you not, one of Tribe's not only designers, but you're part of production as well.
Yes.
Welcome, Humzee.
Thank you.
Thank you for being part of Carnival Visionaries. Remember, it's brought to you by Playmas app. So, Humzee, let's dive right into it.
Right.
Why are the ladies rushing to be in your section?
I think it has a lot to do with me being a designer who creates a design that is not only flattering, but it fits all body types. And that comes from me having a lot of female friends and they expressing their concern of what makes them feel confident, or even me noticing it when we go out and I notice like, oh, she likes this style, she likes to cover this in particular. And one of my main objectives is, as a designer, before the creative process starts, I think about how best can I make a woman feel comfortable on the road.
Right, because in your creative process, are you all thinking about how these women keeping these parts inside of this costume? Because for the men, I'm wondering, I think this is magic. Always have this for the bottom piece and it covering all of the important parts.
I would like to lie and say yes, we think about it, but it's really not the truth. I guess it's just...
It's up to the masquerader for them to cover it up then.
But we really do try to be sensitive, to be honest, and a lot of girls love to express themselves. I mean, I am not one of the risque designers, even though some would say I am, but I just like to, I don't know. If there's someone who wants a option that has more coverage, it can be provided.
Humzee, some of the costumes I see in, if a breeze blow, I think the mokums go jump outside.
Absolutely, I can't deny it.
So
that was very funny.
So in the design process, you just go in with the design itself, whatever, in terms of the creativity aspect, and then after you look at fit, or is it fit first and then?
It works simultaneously for me. So it goes with fits and it goes with what is practical for the female body type. I know some of them gonna slam you like, he lying, he lying. But I feel like there's different markets that want different things. So I'm one who would design certain things for certain countries, certain masqueraders where it would be skimpier than the other, because you have to know your market. You know, so it usually starts with knowing who you're designing for, which country it is, and then you know, am I going to go super skimpy? Am I going to go a bit more reserve? And that's how it starts with for me.
So that's funny that you would say that, because I remember speaking to a designer and they were saying that the Trinidad masquerader was a bit more risky than some of the other islands. Have you seen that?
Yes and no. I feel like there was a point in time where there was a trend where it was absolutely sexiness, but I feel like if you really, which I would like to say, I have a lot of conversations with a lot of my masqueraders, I have a lot of personal relationships with them, they actually want a little bit more coverage. There's certain girls who love to be risky, who love the daring, who love the sexy, and I think that's why we provide it for them. So usually people say, oh, the photos you all post, it's super sexy, but that's what we use to advertise, but it's not really the only option. There's other options if you give us the time to show you. Right.
Because I know that for some women, okay, when we look at band launch, so we know that Trinidad and Tobago, we have a band launch season. And yes, you all will go through putting on these models on the stage. And the average woman may not feel like if she looks like that model there, how does a designer take that into consideration? Are you designing for the super fit model? Do you consider that the average person who come in and play in a band, body not looking like that, don't have the abs of, I don't know anybody big models' names, but to say you're looking like that, you have these B-cup or C-cup breasts and a thin waistline and then these big legs. Not every woman has that.
So for me, it's more like a fantasy. It's more of a big Broadway production. That's how I visualize it, and I feel like that's what I would do for band launch. Because usually, I would do the sexier option, and I'd put certain things that I do on stage that isn't really available, and the bands want to kill me because sometimes girls ask for it. But I just feel like I'm selling a fantasy. I'm selling something that somebody is going to be wowed by, and I think that's what I do when it comes to the show and doing the band launches. I feel like it's just to excite people, because half of the time people in a band launch, they don't care what coming on stage, and then the other half is very focused on, oh, can I see how beautiful this costume is? Because this is maybe my only chance to see it up close and personal. But for me, it's an illusion. I like to create it's a show. Everything is all, excitement,
But I like that you said that when you're doing your costume designs, you're designing for everybody and that every body type. Because I feel like it's though I like that Carnival is inclusive, and that we have full figure women, we have very slim women who play mass and enjoy themselves, and they put themselves in that realm of fantasy as well. So I like that you do that.
Yeah,
with your
and
costumes.
the main thing is Trinidad women. We have a very diverse group of women, and we have people who are business women. We have people who are now finishing university, people who played mass for the first time. We have the veterans, and they all. You would think that the girl who is the 22-year-old with the sexy body wants to wear the skimpy piece, but she might be the one who's a bit more reserved. Then you may have the established businesswoman who decides, okay, this day is the day that I break all hell, and she's wearing a thong and she's doing the most, and she's the the CEO of a company, but that's her moment to shine, so it varies,
And in terms of the production element of it, I know that you work with Tribe full time.
Yes.
So, full-time working for Tribe, is it that you all are in a design sweatshop, drawing whole day, putting together prototypes? What is full-time for Tribe look like?
Wow, that's a very interesting question, because I think a lot of people think we only start working from December to Carnival. When Carnival closed, the camp closed down, and we have little elves. But realistically, we work 365 days a week. We have different departments. We have accounts department. We have like HR department. We have production departments. We have everything you could think about how a corporate business is run, and it's run that way. But also, it's very light because our directors are very easygoing people, so it's very accommodating. For me, who works with them full time, they know my personality. They know my commitments during the year. So not only for me, but there's other persons who work there as well have the same sort of arrangement, where we're able to still fulfill whatever things that we do outside in whichever countries and whatnot, and still able to have a corporate aspect to not just being creative and not just Carnival, because a lot of people think, oh, Carnival is just about building costumes all day, but they don't understand that we have to order the boxes, we have to make sure you touch base with suppliers, you have to make sure costumes are being produced in time to reach back to Trinidad to be packaged, you have to hire staff for all these different things that we're doing, for distribution, for packing the costumes, for setting up, breaking down, communicating with our suppliers throughout the year, ensuring that we have the trucks ready, we have this ready, we have bar managers, we have it's a production that goes on year round.
So let's say, take us through the process. Ash Wednesday hit. We prepping for Carnival the following year. When do you all really start, and what are some of the steps we take to prep for the following year on Ash Wednesday? Does the band take a break from Ash Wednesday and say, all right guys, everybody, we on vacation, Ash Wednesday is the day, and we come back and we reconvene at a certain time? How does it operate?
Well, we have Ash Wednesday off as a day off, and Thursday you're back in the office doing reports. Because we get right into it. We have suppliers to pay, you have people to, attend to, we have to close up, we have to wrap up that year. So we have to make sure we put things in place to get that organized, and that's the business aspect of it. And then us as creative, as designers, now the brand heads would reach out to us like, okay, so we have 2020 the theme ready, we're gonna do, just for example, we're doing birds. So, okay, you can start telling me what colors you want to do and what you're inspired by. And so we start the design process. So the design process goes simultaneously with wrapping up the year. And then we start planning, okay, what our look and feel is going to be like, what the website is going to look like, what is the band launch going to be, who are we reaching out, we want new designers, what's going on. And then we start the whole design process. It starts usually I would say in March, early March. And costumes have to be ready by first viewing for the first week in April. and then the other business aspect of it, we planning logistic things like, okay, where we would, what we would like to do for band launch, what are we feeling, and you know, and a lot of other things.
Right. So from the Thursday right after, you're wrapping up, and then you start prepping immediately. And then we go, when does production start? So I know that you all have to create your designs as designers first and a prototype for band launch.
Right.
When does production actually start to get the costumes ready for Carnival the following year?
Well, production starts as the design process starts. We communicate with our producers. We're like, okay, these are the materials we're looking at, these are the colors we're looking at, this is the fabrics we're looking at, and once a design is confirmed, it could be confirmed in April, May, June, either one of those months, we would already start reaching out to the producers and be like, okay, we would like to get a sample of this, we'd like to order this, we're going with this design, so we start prepping things for, we have duplicates and triplicates. So we have to do a duplicate that will go to our producers in China, and then we have the triplicates that would stay up in the mass camp, and then the ones that we originally done, the prototype, stays in Trinidad production, and we move back and forth, so we're all on the same page with the same thing. We know what materials we're using, and we have materials starting to come in. We start to pre-order wireframes. Our seamstress already have the prototypes. They already know what they're working with, and we start the process even before band launch.
Wow.
So by band launch, our producers in a way would already have what the physical thing is going to look like. They're already giving us a run check. Okay, we have this available, this gem cannot be produced. The FDA didn't approve this factory to produce this gem anymore. We have to find a replacement. This fabric don't exist anymore. We have to get 2 yards of this to recreate the fabric. And those are things that people don't know. So that's why a lot of times costumes change by the time you receive the costume from what it was from band launch. Because sometimes I might use something, I might be doing red, and then one day red is just not speaking to me anymore, and I decide to pull up a blue fabric that I have from 20 years ago. And now production have to find a way how they're going to source this, like where does this fabric come from, like are we going to have to make this over, how we're going to do, and then now our producers going to have to try to figure out how to get that done in the same space of working with a lot of other sections that isn't in the band as well.
So you personally, based on your year, how many years are you doing this in terms of designing?
Officially about 11 years.
11 years. So in the 11 years of designing, do you have one standout costume that you design that you say, boy, I feel this was my best, or this is one that really resonates with me? Check out that look.
I would go based on what a lot of people told me, and I would say it's a costume that I did maybe about 7 to 8 years ago. It was a red costume I designed for fantasy. We had 1001 fantasies that year, and the name of the section was Soca, and it was a red, and it was beautiful. And I would like to think or say that that is one of the costumes that kind of put me on the map a bit. That's when people started to recognize me a bit more and take me serious as a designer. I felt that was that costume.
So I'm backtracking a bit. What you felt broke you into the industry beside that, because you would have been designing before for fantasy. So how did Humzee just decide, well, I want to be a designer, and how you got yourself into this space? Because there are a lot of designers who are at home great at designing and they have no clue how to become a carnival costume designer. So how did you end up here?
I ended up becoming a designer because I tapped into a passion that I didn't realize that I had a passion for. And it was very simple. I was working at a company, and my boss at the time had a friend who had a marketing section in Bliss. And this I would have been about 21 years old, 22 years old, and she decided that she wants to create her own costume, and she came to my boss, and my boss said, well, okay, let's see what we can do here. Let's see how we can sell, make this happen. And I remember seeing the costumes, and I'm like, oh, I just know Carnival from going into Port of Spain. I knew it from a totally different, perspective. And now I was able to see this thing close up, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And I remember having to help them jam things and put things together. And I think there's where it really gave me this feeling that I've never felt before, where it was an exciting rush, and I felt like I'm waking up 2 o'clock in the morning. I have this idea. I think we should do this. And my boss was like, "It's 2 in the morning. Like, what's going on with you? You're crazy or something?" And it was an adrenaline rush. And this is what I always tell designers who want to become a designer. Don't want to become a designer because it looks pretty and it's glitz and it's glam and it's all this awesomeness. Want it because you feel that burning desire in your stomach. It steers you in the right direction. And I think that's why I am where I am.
Right.
And why I probably am still doing designing.
All right. So you're getting it there. If you're getting that burning desire, it may not be acid reflux. It may be you're supposed to be a carnival designer like Humzee. Humzee, ready for your quick fire question?
I'm scared. Let's do this.
All right, let's go. Doubles or roti?
Doubles.
All right. That was just a tester. That was a tester. For the ladies, you rather see boots, heels, wedges, or sneakers?
Sneakers all the way.
Sneakers all the way.
Absolutely. I just feel like it's trendy and like, who have time for... I absolutely don't like boots. I think it's too dated. Wedges could be cute, but how practical. Sneakers is the best.
Right.
Like you could get a pair of like Nikes, Adidas, you know, something like this and be like, yo, match it with my costume and let's do this.
Okay, Socadrome or Savannah stage?
Savannah stage.
Kess or Marshall?
Marshall.
Destra or Patrice?
Patrice.
Voice or lyrical?
Lyrical, hands down.
Groovy or power?
Power.
One thing in Carnival I hate to see.
People throwing their backpacks away.
So what you want them to do with it?
Do not cuss me out in an email and tell me that you cannot get a backpack because it's sold out. Then I get you a backpack. And then Carnival Tuesday, 2 hours after, from 8 a.m., I'm seeing you at 10 a.m., throwing your backpack away. I'm going to take that personal. I'm going to take that personal.
Yeah, but do you think that ladies need, when you're purchasing a backpack, to get backpack etiquette or training?
Absolutely. I think it is something that we need to introduce because it's called frontline for a reason. So ladies who are frontline, please stay in the front of this action. But I also feel like it's a personality thing. Like girls just want the Vava room to take the pictures and that's absolutely fine. But then I also feel like when you go on the road, it's a challenge with the regular masqueraders who don't have a backpack and who didn't choose the featherwork. They have to struggle with all these feathers and then now we're introducing a lot of new materials to the backpacks. So you might be getting a little stab, a little chuck and you're like, but what the...
Exactly,
you know, and you're
exactly.
like,
That's what I'm saying. I think they need training.
Yeah.
In
Backpacks are getting a little bit dangerous now.
What is backpackers? They have this thing and all, they don't know how to turn with it.
So you might be onto something because I feel like we could now put together a little kind of, you know.
Do a little video or something for them. Because for the masquerader like myself, who I played in board shorts and I bareback, and these backpack girls come in, I love to see them and they look beautiful, but when they pass through the crowd, I get scratched up with all these types of things. And then I can't take a wine on you because you have a whole peacock behind you.
It's a little rough. I mean, for some girls, they call it a, you know, a bumpsy block.
Oh,
you know.
okay.
So it's intentionally there.
So it's intentionally,
you know?
right.
So
right,
it's
right.
quite a few things.
Right, okay. Or maybe you could consider too, some of the girls who, as you say, they only really buy any backpack because they want to take the pictures. Maybe you can have rent a backpack or a backpack zone and they put a couple backpack options. Let the masquerader come. Put on the backpack, take the pictures and bounce and leave the backpack.
Let me call Dean. Take me out to something here.
Humzee, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You all can go check out his, give them the Instagram handle now.
Oh, it's just very simple. Humzee, Humzee.
Right. This has been another exciting episode. You're getting all the details into Carnival design and production right here with Carnival Visionaries, all courtesy Playmaster.